You are lying in complete darkness. You cannot move a finger. You cannot scream. You cannot even blink. But you can hear everything. You hear your generals fighting over your empire. You feel the cold hands of the embalmers touching your skin, preparing you for the grave. You want to shout, "I am still here, I am not dead," but your lips do not move. This sounds like a horror movie, but for the greatest conqueror in human history, this was likely his reality. History books tell us Alexander the Great died gloriously at the age of 32 in Babylon. But modern science suggests something far more terrifying. He didn't just die. He was trapped inside his own corpse, a prisoner in his own flesh. Today, we are going to expose the dark truth behind the God King. How a man who conquered the world ended up losing the battle for his own soul. To understand his nightmare ending, we must first understand his beginning. Alexander wasn't raised as a child. He was raised as a weapon. His mother, Olympias, was a woman obsessed with the occult and snakes. She whispered a dangerous lie into his ear every single night. "Philip is not your father. You are the son of Zeus. You are a god." This wasn't just arrogance. It was psychological programming. Alexander truly believed he was divine. And gods don't follow the rules of men. This god complex fueled his entire life. It started when he was just a boy. A massive wild horse named Bucephalus was brought to the kingdom. No man could tame it. It was a beast. But Alexander noticed what others missed. The horse was afraid of its own shadow. He gently turned the horse toward the sun. The shadow disappeared, and the beast became calm. Alexander rode him when grown men failed. His father, King Philip, cried and said, "My son, look for a kingdom worthy of yourself, for Macedonia is too small for you." And he was right. Alexander took that ambition and set the world on fire. Take the legend of the Gordian knot. An ancient prophecy stated that whoever could untie this impossible knot would become the king of all Asia. Wise men had tried for centuries and failed. Alexander looked at the knot. He didn't study it. He didn't try to untangle it. He simply drew his sword and sliced it in half. It was brilliant. It was cheating. But to Alexander, destiny wasn't something you waited for. It was something you took by force. But absolute power comes with a terrible price. As he pushed deeper into Persia, Egypt, and finally India, the hero began to fade, and the tyrant emerged. He adopted the customs of the people he conquered. He started demanding that his loyal Greek soldiers bow down to him like a deity. The breaking point came at a dinner party. His loyal general, Clytus, the man who had once saved Alexander's life in battle, the man who had cut off an enemy's arm to save his king, dared to question him. Drunk on wine and rage, Alexander didn't argue. He grabbed a spear and drove it through his friend's chest. The god had become a murderer. By the time he reached Babylon in 323 BC, Alexander was broken. His body was scarred from battles, and his mind was drowning in alcohol and paranoia. Then, one night, after drinking a massive bowl of unmixed wine, a sudden piercing pain struck him in the back. It felt like a physical blow, like a spear from the gods. He collapsed. The king of the world could not even stand up. His generals carried him to his bed, thinking it was just a fever. They didn't know that the end had begun. Over the next 12 days, his condition became a living horror story. First, he lost the ability to walk. Then, he lost his voice. He could only move his eyes. His soldiers marched past his bed weeping, thinking he was saying goodbye. But modern doctors believe Alexander was suffering from Guillain-Barré syndrome, or GBS. This is a rare disorder where the body's immune system attacks the nerves. It causes ascending paralysis. You look dead on the outside, but your mind is perfectly awake on the inside. He was locked in, and here is the scariest part. Ancient Greek doctors checked for life by looking for breath, not a pulse. Because of his paralysis, his breathing was so shallow, it was invisible to the naked eye. They declared him dead. Historical records mention a miracle. They wrote that for 6 days after his death, Alexander's body did not decay in the hot Babylonian sun. It smelled sweet. The priest said it proved he was a god, but science says it proved he was still alive. Just imagine that moment. He was likely conscious in the darkness of his tomb, starving, dehydrated, unable to scream, feeling the temperature drop as the torchlight faded away. Forever, Alexander conquered the known world. He defeated armies, toppled empires, and claimed to be the son of Zeus. But in the end, he died the most human death imaginable, helpless, alone, and afraid. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark side of history, hit that like button and subscribe. The past is full of ghosts, and we're just getting started.